Question for you, though. So the Rams also dropped 51 on the third best team in New York. That would be the Giants, Max. Real quick, should the Giants bench Eli?
You know what? I look at it in the sense of being in this situation where your team's struggling. Now, we weren't this bad, but we're pretty bad. Yes, you have to make a decision at your quarterback position. Now, Eli Manning, obviously the name speaks for itself and the things he's been able to accomplish, but you have to now start preparing for the future. Now, where your quarterback that you drafted from California, is he the future for you going on at this particular point? You have to see what you have. And then all across the board, now it's time to start shuffling people in different positions. Who may be there next year? Who right now is on the bubble? And I think for McAdoo, saying Eli Manning's name is a question as far as benching him is concerned, probably just got him fired. But yet and still, you have to make that decision. You're going to have to move on from the era of Eli Manning. And that is the problem with teams in the NFL at this particular point who have older quarterbacks. They're not drafting quarterbacks in the draft to be able to prepare for the future. Look at what's going on in Arizona. Look what's going on in Pittsburgh. Look what's going on in San Diego. And now look what's going on in New York. And that's the question that people have been asking is, who's next? And that right now, when you look at New York, I mean, they're only going down. They look so awful on defense when they spend all that money. To give up that much from the Rams, you're on the 3rd and 30, and you give up a touchdown.
50-something yard touchdown, 3rd and 30-something.
That is amazing to me because the question now is not about the football team. The question is about the pride. The question is about the work ethic and just the mentality of this football team. Have they given up on McAdoo? Or have they given up on them? You know, the film doesn't lie. When I sit there and roll the film, I'm looking at each and every player that may be a free agent next year. You have to play in order to get paid in this league. And right now, they look awful.
Let's put it in its proper perspective. The New York Giants look so bad, Michael Strahan probably scared to show up on Good Morning America. That's how bad the New York Giants look right now. They are as much as he's getting paid, he's showing up. But it's kind of embarrassing to show up and be associated with that franchise right now. McAdoo has to go. I'd fire him today. All right, you need wholesale changes. Everybody's got to go. You got to think to the future. Now, obviously, you take Eli out. You know, Geno Smith comes in. I don't know if anybody deserves that right now in New York City. I just don't know anybody deserves that. But the bottom line is this: if you are Eli Manning, listen, I'm not going to sit up there and tell you he's finished, but clearly you need to think about moving forward because he's the past and you need something to look forward to. But what I think about when I think about these Giants is this. You decided a couple of years ago that change needs to occur. We need wholesale changes. And the only person you got rid of was Tom Coughlin. That was ridiculous.
And how are the Jags looking right now, by the way?
That's right. And listen, Tom Coughlin got scapegoated. I'm not saying he didn't deserve to go because they had missed the playoffs for several years, but if he's going to go, everybody needs to go. And for him to be the only one that departed was a travesty as far as I'm concerned. You've got to clean house because those players quit on McAdoo yesterday. Quit. And he looks completely overwhelmed, can't deal with the media in New York. They don't know how to answer questions. I mean, talk about that pregnant pause, that silence. How are you going to be the head coach in New York City and don't know what, they don't have anything to say? There's nothing. Just get rid of him. He's not the man for the job. You got listen, I love Reeves, but he's got to go. Clean house. Everybody has to go.
Look. Eli Manning is one of my all-time favorite players. To be a Giants fan watching the Super Bowl, watching 2 different Super Bowls against the Patriots, when you're praying for a miracle and he gives it to you both times, the way he went to Green Bay and at Lambeau Field beat Favre and beat Rodgers on the way to those Super Bowls. So Giants fans feel eternally indebted to him. However, it's Eli who quit on the team, to me. And you could see it. Yep. Wow. Eli will show up. He'll put in the work. He'll go out on the field. He'll try to make the passes. That's the way it goes. I got to be honest. Eli looks to me like a guy who's not trying to get himself killed for this team that Jerry Reese put together and that McAdoo coached up. He looked around. He said, I'm turning 37. Now he's 37 years old. I'm not getting killed behind this stuff. Nope. And I'm not saying I blame him, but I think that's the reality. And when your quarterback is missing those middle of the field, wide open throws, he consistently misses them. And forget about the hang dog expression. It's always been that way with Eli. I'm not even going to factor that in. But I think the team follows suit. Reese has done a terrible job drafting. McAdoo obviously hasn't coached them up, and the quarterback hasn't gotten the job done. In terms of benching Eli, though, I recognize the trend in the NFL. If you are a statue like Eli Manning, as tough as he is, I mean, you talk about like the toughest quarterback in the NFL, he's never missed a game. And he's been in some defensive wars. I mean, never missed a game. But if you have a statue-type quarterback and he doesn't have any wheels at all, boy, he better hit those open receivers, and Eli's not doing that either. I wouldn't bench him, but what I would do is give Webb looks in live game action to try to evaluate what you have. And I would also start looking in the draft for a quarterback who can not only play in the pocket, but has some wheels too, because that's the way the league has gone.
Well, let me clear some things up. First of all, you said that Eli Manning quit on the team, but then you won't bench him. anytime that in sports, if you have a player that's out there playing in a competitive sports and he quits on the team, that's when you should sit him down. And I'm going to go against that because I don't think Eli Manning quit on the team. Eli Manning understands the situation. He understands the future. And he also understands that he's not going to get killed out there, but he's not going to sit there and just throw the game away.
Well, no, of course, but what's the difference? When you're a guy like Eli, he's going to have to be inspirational. He's not going to break off first downs with his legs, right? He's going to have to hit receivers and lead the team, and he's not doing that.
Yeah, but you can't say that he quit on him because he's missing receivers. As quarterbacks, we all miss receivers.
But when Eli is going great, like in the playoffs, or when it doesn't matter how
playoffs, it doesn't regular season, he's never going great.
But it doesn't matter how good the San Francisco or Green Bay, whatever defense he had to face, turf coming out of his helmet
we all do, Max.
He gets up and he does not miss a game. He gets up and he completes passes. That guy is not there this year.
Well, he might not be there. He might not be there because he might have lost the touch. He might not be there because he's petrified that he's going to get hit because the offensive line is so porous. But I don't know if I can bench him for some dude named Davis Webb. I mean, listen,
you drafted him.
You drafted him. You drafted him in the third round. I get all of that. All I'm saying is this. When you look at the problems that have been sifting through the Giants like a virus, I don't know if you can point to Eli Manning because you got to take into account what he's worked with. In the end, if you're going to change it, change everything because everything is wrong with this team. I don't know if there's an area that you can point to where you can say there's not a problem. And oh, by the way, Brandon Marshall, let's bring up that name. And the reason why I know he's hurt. I know he's hurt now. But the point that I'm trying to make to you is that you left the Jets. They're looking better without you. You're with the Giants.
Why you got to go there?
I'm just being listen. I'm just.
Why you got to go there with it?
I like Brandon Marshall, but what I'm saying is whether it's him, it's Shepard, Odell Beckham Jr. He's injured too. We get all of that, but everywhere you turn with this organization, there are problems. I mean, listen, we don't even know if there's something wrong with the damn equipment manager. That's how bad it is with the New York Giants. That's how bad it is.
Eli,
nobody's absolved. Nobody's absolved.
I want to be benched.
This is no, you never want to be benched.
This season's over.
Yeah, but still, you never want to be benched.
He's got consecutive games going.
Yeah, he has a lot of things going on, but I don't think personally he's looking at the individual accolades in this. I think Eli is also looking for his future. Look, you want to continue to play. You don't ever want to be benched because it's embarrassing when you do get benched.
Especially when you're the Giants.
They're past the point of embarrassing.
Well, the whole thing is you still, when they bench you, that means they're pointing the finger at you.
But this is why I
problem. And I've been a part of that. And I've been a part of that twice or three times. And it's no fun because you're not the problem, but no one's focusing on the real problem. But the focus will be you as a quarterback.
So what's the real problem with the Giants?
The real problem with the Giants is they have no identity offensively. Their offensive line, they keep trying to shuffle guys around, which they're in a bad position, and there's no chemistry there.
Here's the real problem with the Giants.
Running game. And defensively, you have a lot of guys that you pay so much for that aren't playing well. Eli Apple is not playing well. Jenkins is your number one DB, who's been in the league about a decade now, and he's your number one DB. That's a problem. Collins, who was a defensive player of the year candidate last year, is not playing well.
But the real problem is this. You want to know what the problem with the Giants is? Jerry Reese, who inherited Orcorsi's team but then won another Super Bowl with a lot of his guys, has done such a bad job in the draft. When the guys you draft consistently don't get on the field, not talking about Landon Collins or Odell Beckham, he hit some home runs.
Last 29 picks, only 2 guys on the roster.
They don't stick on the roster. So what happens? If you want a good defense, you got to go into free agency, spend all your money. Oh, you also need an offensive line. Money's gone. What can you do? You have to look for a guy off the scrap heap. Oh, your draft pick doesn't work out. You're toast. That's the problem. Reese has done such a bad job drafting. He had to spend the money on the defense. There's nothing left for the offensive
only problem
line.
With your argument there, Max, is that you sound like if you get rid of him, problem solved. And I'm like, there's so much more that you got to get rid of.
At this point, you also probably have to bounce McAdoo after that performance.
For sure.
McAdoo got to go. He wasn't the right man for the job.
He needs to just be benched.
You put the Rangers in there?
The Jets.
The Jets and the Bills.
When the Knicks are looking better,
you put the hockey team. I'm about to say you put the hockey team in there.
I'll put the Brooklyn Nets up there. Come on. All right, we got to leave it there. Donovan is sticking around with us. Much more to